The mechanized one, which is the electrical one, costs 10,000. And then the hand pump one costs 12,000. The one we maintain, it costs 2,000. Sometimes more, depending upon the distance.
The government is not able, like he said, it's not able to take care of all the people in the country. So people are donating water to areas, to people that don't have water. So there is a growing need for water in our country now. Everybody is doing it. Every house is doing it. Every village is doing it. The rivers are no more good. Formerly people drink the rivers, but now we donate water, borehole water to the people.
We had only looked at the functional parts of the system without making recourse to the long-term sustainability.
The time people are sick, hospital medical bills, the drop-down rate in schools because school girls, boys have to fetch water. And in case of sanitation, where there is no sanitation, girls in their teens, menstrual cycle period have challenges in going to school. And when you calculate all these costs, they are so huge to us at the national level.
Water quality is extremely urgent. We cannot afford that people drink contaminated water.
L'eau, c'est une priorité parce que ça touche à la santé même des populations.
Not one member of our population should be without water or sanitation.
మాకి మేము పెద్దలో నలుగురు ఉన్నాం, పిల్లలు ఇద్దరు, 7 మంది ఉన్నాం. 7 బిందెలు అయిపోతాయి స్నానానికి. అంట్లకి బండలు దుడిసేకి ఓ బిందె అయిపోతుంది. మొత్తం కలిపి 7-8 బిందెలు అయిపోతాయి. కరెంటు బోర్లు అన్నీ చేరిపోయినాయంటే తోటకల్లా అవుతాం. ఇంకా ఉంటే ఏం లేక చేతి బోరింగో లేకపోతే కరెంటు బోర్ నీళ్ళు అవి పట్టుకొచ్చుకొని ఎట్లా అట్లా చేసుకుంటాం వాళ్ళకి. ఇంతకుముందు మీలాంటి వాళ్ళు వచ్చి ఇవి తాగకూడదు, రోగాలు వస్తున్నాయి, జ్వరాలు వస్తున్నాయి, గడ్డలు అవి ఇవి వస్తున్నాయి, వేరే మంచి నీళ్ళు వాడండి అంటే అవి తప్పనిచ్చి మాకు వేరే నీళ్ళు లేనేలేవు.
This is called a well which once upon a time we used to use as a source for drinking water, but we have changed so many times and the government has invested so much to create different kinds of schemes and systems, but ultimately again people are reverting back to this open well, which ultimately regarded as a not safe source, because this has lot of provision for pollution because it's an open well, not covered. So there is a tendency for more contamination. So government has invested in the tanks, something like this, where they provide a tank. This is a huge dead investment in terms of its utility because they are not using anything now. And because of failures of these kind of systems, look at that one. That's a coping strategy from an individual household where they have their own drum or a kind of storage tank where they get the water from their agriculture fields and then store it in front of their house, and then every 2-3 days again they go and get it. So there are multiple systems in the village. Still, individual households have to again cope up with the whole thing. Huge infrastructure is provided by the government, but the thing is, most of them are non-functional. Look at this hand pump, which is non-functional again. So what's the point of just, providing infrastructure and just covering, 80% and 90%? Numbers look good, but ultimately, if they don't really provide the service, why do we need this infrastructure? It's just graveyard of investment.
O principal desafio com aquilo que nós agora chamamos de sustentabilidade, na perspectiva de como é que nós conseguimos manter os níveis de serviço que nós já alcançamos.
Obviously, if the system is not operated and properly maintained, you can expect long downtimes.
We're all looking at MDG targets, how many more communities have been covered, how many, and we were not focusing on sustainability.
A situação é tal que o que acontece efetivamente é que acabamos trabalhando em regime ad-hoc. Quando há alguma situação de avarias de fontes, a gente vai a correr para tratar aquele assunto específico.
If we build a system in a community, and in the next 5 years, you come back to government and say, give me money, I want to build the same system in the same community, government obviously should ask you, what, I thought 5 years ago you built a system in that community. Why do you want to build a system like that again?
En moyenne, une pomme dure environ une année. Puis ce n'est que les segments et les joints qui suivent rapidement. Donc il faut les changer. Une fois, si l'entretien est correct seulement, une durée de vie d'une pomme peut atteindre 30 ans. Si à l'entretien. Oui, si on a. Oui. Dans l'autre pays que l'a réparé. Bon, que chaque chef de famille cotise. Il y a des coins où c'est 1000 francs par mois. Des fois, bon. Il n'y a pas suffisamment de cotisation. Donc pour avoir l'argent sur place pour nous payer, c'est tout un problème. Mais au moins si à la moitié, nous prenons et puis après nous revenons chercher le reste. Oui.
There are other costs that are associated to the operation and maintenance, and one of them is what we call the capital maintenance costs. Supposing a community have a system and then the pump breaks down, they are not able to generate sufficient income to be able to replace a pump.
Basicamente estamos a falar de custos, posso dizer custos administrativos ligados às operações, deslocações, financiamento das deslocações das operações que o pessoal do distrito tem que fazer.
Les missions de sensibilisation qu'on mène avec la radio, le contrat, tout ça, c'est des questions aussi qui sont dans le budget.
So, and their roles for monitoring, evaluating the systems and things like that, it's key to the sustenance of the system.
The leakage underground, yes. That's the reason why the water didn't come out after 2 or 3 streets. If I pump, immediately I pump 1, 2, water have to come out. This one, we did it just about some seconds. So water came out quickly, instantly. But when we waited for 5 minutes, water should have come out immediately. As I pump now, and the water came out. But once it didn't come out immediately, then it means we have problem underground. That's the leakage. Yeah. When I come, I check the reliability of the pump, the functionality. I've seen whether they are keeping the place clean. There's no feces, urine in the toilet. They are keeping the place clean.
When you look at the district assemblies, what are their interventions? Their interventions is they are supposed to actually follow up the action and do the planning to ensure that, but the sort of money they will require is not that it's very big, but they don't get that resources. It is their responsibility to provide those, but they don't get those resources from government.
We don't want to plan, and when you get to implementation, along the line, we don't have the resources. So the life cycle gives us that picture and the total budget required thereof, and when to do what.
Well, I don't think it's an issue of financing. Money to finance the sector, I think they have, but again, the roles and responsibilities of the various structures in terms of their financing also have to be looked at, because probably the wrong monies are going to the wrong responsibilities, and that is not giving us the right results.
The life cycle cost. That term A, this is the cost center, the cost component. B, in 6 months' time, these are the likely activities and the cost thereof.
For now, if I'm planning to actually get an investment for a system, I need to plan it along the full life cycle cost to make sure that once you put the system there, it should be sustainable. And if you don't plan it along the full life cycle cost and you neglect some of the structures and some of the components in there like we did previously, the result is that you have 70% of your systems functioning. At any point in time, you have 30% down.
The ministry and other institutions which are involved in planning have understood, I think, have realized that this is a concept that we have to plan for. And people are thinking on those lines. Yeah.
Então, todo este conjunto de planificação, o treinamento que vamos fazer com base nesta questão do ciclo do custo, tudo agregado, esperamos que vai nos ajudar.
Ça, si on réussit, les villages où ça marche vont servir de bon exemple ailleurs par rapport là où les gens ne veulent pas encore payer un peu pour avoir l'eau.
కాబట్టి ఇప్పుడు మనకున్న పరిస్థితుల్లో మనం ఇప్పుడు వాటర్ బాగా నడుపుకోవాలి అంటే జనరేటర్ కూడా బాగా ఆడించుకోవాలా. ఆ జనరేటర్ కూడా బాగా చక్కగా పెట్టుకొని మనం నడుపుకోవడానికి బాగా యోగ్యంగా ఉండేటట్టు చూడాలా. నీళ్లు కూడా అందరికీ అందేటట్టు కూడా మనం సప్లై చేయడానికి కూడా బాగా మంచి ఇదితో వాళ్ళకి సప్లై చేయడానికి కూడా ప్రజలకి ఇబ్బంది కలగకుండా చేయడానికి కూడా మనం చర్యలు తీసుకోవాలని మేము కోరుకుంటున్నాం.
డైలీ ఒక పుస్తకం ఉపయోగిస్తాము. అవి వాటర్ తీసుకెళ్ళి కార్డు మీద రాపించుకుంటారు కదా, అవి రాసుకొని పంపిస్తాము. కార్డు అయిపోయిన రోజు వేరే పుస్తకం నోట్ చేసుకుంటాం. కార్డు నెంబరు, వాళ్ళ పేరు, క్యాన్ నెంబరు, డబ్బులు, 30 రూపాయల కార్డు, 60 రూపాయల కార్డు, మా జీతాలన్నీ, ఇక్కడ ఊడ్చే వాళ్ళకన్నీ, రిపేర్ ఖర్చులు ఎన్ని, ఎంత అమౌంట్ మిగులుతుంది అని, పోస్ట్ ఆఫీస్లో ఎంత వేస్తారో అన్నీ రాసుకుంటారు దీంట్లో. కమిటీ వల్ల ఉపయోగం అంటే రిపేర్ వస్తే 24 గంటల్లో చేపిస్తారండి. అదే ప్రభుత్వం వారైతే వారం 10 రోజులు పట్టింది కదా. కమిటీ ఏర్పాటు చేసుకొని తొందరగా నీళ్ళు అందేలా చూస్తారు కమిటీ వాళ్ళు.
The focus should shift more to maintenance. There's no point making investments, then 2, 3, 4 years after, then the investment is broken down completely and you have to come and make investment again. No. You should focus more attention on maintenance, making sure that all the structures that is required to properly operate, maintain, monitor, a system is rightly in place.
Que estamos a sair agora da pressão de construir as infraestruturas, estamos a começar a ter consciência do serviço todo.
The politicians feel more comfortable talking about facilities provided. That under my regime I provided 100 communities with 1,000 boreholes and that. And so then it becomes an important component for them.
And if we did that consistently, it will be easier to be counting the numbers every day than having to make huge investments today. After 2-3 years, it's completely broken down for lack of maintenance, and then you have to go and find money and come and make investment again. It doesn't work like that.
Vous allez peut-être mettre les infrastructures partout, mais dans 2 ans, 3 ans, vous allez revenir au même problème.
Because at the end of the day, we don't want to count facilities. We want to count services provided to the community.
If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Do you understand? And the life cycle cost is a more effective way of planning.